there were 2 decades there at least where anytime I got fast food, like ever, it was like 2 double burgers and a large fries. Yeah. Or a spicy chicken and a double cheeseburger and a large fries.
Yes, that's a good combo right there.
Yeah. Like every time. That was just, we're eating? Well, that's the default meal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I remember this one, I don't know what happened, but I was like, I can order 1 burger and a small fries. Or I can order like 2 chicken burgers and no fries. I remember that epiphany. I was actually in control of what I consumed when I ate at fast food places.
I was there. For me, it was the apple pies. I can get this meal without the apple pies. I don't need to eat the apple pies. That's
I'm dieting. Yeah. I saw apple pies are just sugar. It's all sugar. You don't want those. Hey, everybody. Welcome to It's Just Bodybuilding. Big Ron Partlow here, of course, with Dusty Hansahw. Hey, you greened out in your green shirt. And the producer, Scott McNally, in his Olympia mutant shirt. I love it.
Yes, Olympia's coming up.
There we go. And remember, everybody, like, share, subscribe, and... comment. And there we go.
And ring the bell. Oh, I was ready.
There's so many things.
Nice try.
There's so many things. Make sure you do all those things. I see people commenting that they're doing all those things. So that's always nice.
Comment about doing them.
Comment about commenting and ringing the bell and subscribing and all that stuff. So we appreciate it. And, like Scott comes on sometimes, gives us the secret data, how many new subscribers we have this week and all that stuff. And it's really exciting. So thanks to you guys. And of course, remember, IamMutant.com. Mutant, of course, I've been with Mutant for like 12 years. Dusty's been what? How many years you've been with Mutant total?
It'll be 10 now, yeah.
10, just like really, really great people there, and we love supporting them, and we're happy they're supporting the podcast. So IamMutant.com, keeping it hardcore. Get your IsoSurge, get your all in, and everyone should get on the gear. And Dusty 20, Big Ron 20, so you can order online and save your money. Boom.
Okay. Right. That's good.
There we go. So we talked a little bit. We have a little bit of organization today. So you guys have to let us know if this is a superior episode or if it's too clean. Like, when a band has like their first couple albums and then their like 4th album is just too produced. There's like 10 guitar tracks on it and it's perfectly clean and it's like just too much, So if it's too good.
If we lost the magic,
If we lose the magic. It's like when your favorite gym, gets like, they get rid of like the old leg press that everyone loves, right? And they get a brand new one.
Yeah.
So we don't want to be those guys. So let us know. But we have an opening question. It was from a loyal listener. It's from Jared. So hi, Jared. Thanks for this question. And he said, was there ever a time in your career, off-season or prep, where you would go into the gym to train and you found out in the first couple of sets that this just wasn't happening, essentially? Like mental, physical, something. There's this workout's terminated. And how many times do you think that happened in your career? So what do you think?
I have, but it wasn't until I got older and actually understood that was an option. So like earlier in my career, because everything was written out and planned, it was not optional. You train on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and that is what you do. And you cannot move back to Friday and whatever Friday is supposed to be to Saturday. That's not possible.
It's a cascade of disruption.
Yeah. So I had, and what it actually became, when it became noticeable was when I had better PT work. Because I went in, I remember the first time it ever happened, hip flexor was tight. And I knew if I finish this workout, I'll probably hurt this hip flexor. But if I call Jason right now and tell him, hey, I need to see you today, when's your last appointment so I can come in right afterwards? Go in, see the guy, get fixed. The next day, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, all right, we're ready to go. And train that same workout one day later. So game changing, because that was something I never had the mental issue, but if your body's not there, you're either going to have a bad workout or an injury, you know? So I think it's a good idea, especially if you're somebody who's disciplined and has a way that you approach workouts where it's not like you just didn't have your head in the game because you didn't plan for it, but everything was ready and you just got in there like, this ain't working. And you're like, okay, well, we won't do the hack squats. We're the leg press. That ain't working either. And it's like, there's a time to just go, yeah, this workout isn't happening. How about you guys?
Right. Right. I think the number of times I did that in my life when I, get a couple sets in or whatever and just left the gym, probably like I gotta be less than 5.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm sure it happened 5 times just because like there's a lot of years, but I honestly can barely remember it happening. I remember going in one time and warming up on the incline barbell. And I remember like getting to like 2 plates and being like really angry that I had a problem with my pec tendon. And I remember thinking in myself, it's really not a good idea to be in here with a sore pec tendon and be angry. So I have to leave.
Oh yeah.
You know
Very
what I mean?
valid.
And I just left. I remember I just took the plates off and I just like walked out. I think I still had my elbow sleeves on. Just walked out of the gym and went and saw my guy the next day.
See?
Got in for Graston. And I remember that was the first time I ever had a Graston tool used on me. So this was like 2004, 3? I don't know.
It was not common at that time.
No, like I went to see my massage guy, who was also like, did some needling and stuff, but I didn't really go to see him for that stuff. But he broke out these tools and he's like, yeah, I'm Graston certified now. And he starts like working on my pec. And I was like, oh, okay. And he got in there and he's like, oh, your pec is like ridiculously tight. And he starts working on it. And then he gets into my lat and then he gets into my tricep. And then the next day I went to the gym and I remember because a plate aside hurt. Like I remember doing a plate aside and I was like, what the f is wrong with my pec? And I thought, well, I'm just going to feel this out. And it was like butter.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh. So then I put a little bit more and I remember I did some chest that day, but it was supposed to be like another day. So I did like a couple sets of chest and then I think I did like my arm day or whatever. Cause I just didn't want to screw up my rotation. Right. But I got in there and I felt enough to know that I was like, oh, I'm going to be okay next week. Like, like that sort of
absolutely.
thing. It was I didn't do the workout like Dusty did, but it was amazing what the difference one treatment did. Like, I was just like blown away. And I had the same thing happen with triceps once. I remember I did biceps. This doesn't really count because I did biceps. And then when I went to do triceps, I couldn't even warm up on the press down. And I went and had my arm work done. He's like, oh, the belly or your tricep is all tight. And he Grastoned the shit out of my tricep. And the next day, my tricep was like all purple.
Yeah,
But I went in and I did some press downs and it was like no pain at all.
Yeah.
So I've had stuff like that happen. I think there was one time where I left the gym really early. I remember it was a leg day and I think I did like extensions and a set of press. And I was really, really pissed off about something. And I just said, I have to get out of here. It's like not because I remember being self-aware enough to know that if you can't focus, there's danger.
Oh yeah.
Right. You're not doing like preacher curls. Like you got to be focused on leg day. And I remember I was really, really pissed and I just fucking left the gym. So
that was right around the time I had left Mutant for a year and he couldn't believe it. That
so
part's
upset.
probably not accurate at all, but I just wanted to go with it. I wanted my piece in this little moment.
Make it about you, right?
Yeah. I'm a bodybuilder. It's what we do.
it was Dusty related. Dusty related
Dusty
grief.
comes in.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was right around the time they brought me back. Anyways,
I'm going to be honest. I can't think of a time, and like I know it happened. I know it happened more than once that I cut it and left, but I think I just blocked those terrible memories out of my head. Like, you know what I mean? You remember the best workouts, right? I don't remember the times that I stopped because it just was.
Yeah.
But I know that those times did happen, and even excuse me, even more vivid though. are the times, like you said, Dusty, I probably should have. Like, you said that at a point you learned. There were many times I probably should have walked away. So,
Right.
This whole last couple years, I've had to renegotiate because I haven't known what I'm coming into now training as far as getting like autoimmune stuff, getting kicked up and everything. So it's been an interesting ride. Some days are going to be freaking awesome. And other days I know it's like, I'm just going to have to take it easy. Don't go to failure or anything. But regardless, I can navigate and still get like a good workout in. And at the end of the day, man, you get a good workout in. It's like you walk away I've never walked away from a workout like wishing I hadn't done it. You know what I mean?
No. And I do a lot of like, I train with Braden, 90 some percent of the time, but there'll be, like a Friday where I have to do shoulders early, or like today I actually have to get my workout in a little early because I'm going to Tool, live Tool show tonight. Yeah. Tool's playing in Vancouver tonight.
Heck yeah.
So and I are going to put on probably just wear all black, going to a prog metal show, dressed head to toe in black. And I'll make sure she's got her tits out a bit, though.
Obviously.
We're row 12.
Okay.
So we might be seen.
You got to be ready. Just in case.
I got to be ready. In case we get in a stage cam or something.
Oh, dude, that's going to be amazing. Have you seen them before?
Yeah. This will be my 6th time.
Oh, wow.
So
I hear they are incredible. I've never seen them live, but I hear it's an experience.
Yeah, I've gotten on airplanes to go see them.
Holy crap.
Like where you just fly somewhere, see the show, and then fly back the next morning. Like I've done that before. So they're awesome. But what was my whole point? What was I talking about?
I don't know.
Tool.
Everything stopped.
Working out early. Working out early.
Yeah.
I say I got to train a little early today. So sometimes I think, okay, well, this is an opportunity for me to maybe give my joints a little bit of a rest. Because when I trained with Braden, like we're training hard, So I might do like all sets of 15 to failure, but like all 15s and kind of blast faster, take 1 minute rests, that sort of thing. Do some drop sets and make the workout so it's like 40 minutes long and just get in and out. And I've been driving home with like a pec pump out to here. And I'm like, that was fun.
Yeah.
You'll end up being sore just because of the shock. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's like, because it doesn't matter as much. Like I can do anything and kind of keep the amount of muscle that I'm keeping as long as I just train hard.
Train hard.
So,
train hard?
Train hard.
Train hard.
Ace.
Train hard. It's always about training hard. Okay. What's next, Scott? You had a question.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of them. I've got a few from Patreon. This one was from YouTube. Yeah.
You see how good I did there? I got to the next segment without you having to message me. Let's move on.
Let's move on, Ron.
Every episode, there's a few let move on Rons.
We got to move on.
There is not. There's been maybe one or two. Let's move on.
Hey, Ron, let's move this along. I'm gonna have to edit this.
I don't edit, but we don't have to. It's not that bad.
You did catch an F-bomb earlier, Ron. You've really.
It's okay. We can do one. A few.
He caught it. He just. And I was like, look at that.
Ron has cleaned up his act. If you haven't noticed, Dusty.
Yeah,
like he's really cleaned up his act.
His act.
But you know what I noticed
before?
When Ron spends a lot of time around people, he does the podcast. He's in a good groove with us, and then he cleans up the act. But then he actually goes and hangs out with people for a few days. He's like, I went out of town and effing this and effing that. He slips. He relapses a little. He relapses. You notice that?
I love this. Gets his act together, relapses. Our guy's got a real problem.
I know. I actually had a conversation with myself. I was like, do I swear too much? I'm like gonna be.
Fuck yeah, I do.
I swear too much.
That's amazing.
Do I speak too casually to people? Like even in a business setting, Like
when you own the business,
fuck.
It doesn't matter.
Get this effing loan. You get this effing loan from you or what?
Yeah. Get this fucking loan. So you fucking guys, you've been so great to deal with.
That's about the bank. That's if we're talking to the bank manager.
Right.
Yeah.
I love this place.
Yeah. I might do that. I'm not saying I don't.
That's
okay.
All right. So the question was, and this is a fun one. Like I said, we have some from Patreon as well. All right. So it says, if you had to rank every aspect of bodybuilding used to create a Mr. Olympia level physique from the most important to the least, how would you rank these? And then he has a whole list for us from diet, training, gear, hydration, sleep, genetics, supplementations, and gear. Okay. I like how he has gear in there.
Gear and supplementation is in there multiple times. It's fantastic.
I'll leave this up here so you guys can see it too. There we go.
Yeah,
put it right there.
Blow it up a little. I'm old, man. Jeez.
Oh, okay.
Whoops. Oh, there we go. Whoa, there we go. I like that.
All
right. So we all know what the first and most important thing is. Ron, go ahead and say it.
Genetics.
Yeah.
Genetics, it's like, reminds me of like, it's like the higher you turn genetics, the less the other things even matter.
Right.
Like some of the other stuff doesn't even matter to some guys. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't even really matter. It might matter to dictate how good they do as a good pro.
Right.
That's where, but to get to be a good pro, they're just going to train and eat and take some juice, and you're just going to have to watch the show. Because once everything's kicking, those genetics are good enough. If the genetics are good enough, man, forget about it. We've all seen it.
I think that's why most people have such a hard time understanding the point of the what genetics really means, is because they've never been around the amount of genetic freaks that we have.
Yeah,
and I'm talking about all sports. I mean, I played with genetic freak hockey players. Same with this. I've known I mean, I have a friend who plays in the NHL, and his two brothers play in the NFL.
Yeah,
there's only three boys.
You can't tell me there's not something going on in the pool.
Yeah,
their pool has better water than your pool.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is you have to factor in. This is gonna seem like a play, but like when you use the word genetics, well, how good do your genetics respond to training? How good do your genetics respond to gear? Like
it's all genetics.
All of these things play a role. So that's why the first and foremost is genetics and all those things, because this, both of you guys. I've had someone say, oh, well, how do you handle acne from the gear? And I'm like, I don't. There is no acne problem. Ever. Never has been. I took it wrong, took it right, took it while on the McDonald's diet. It doesn't matter. And that's, again, a form of genetics or injuries. I got this injury, that injury.
Yeah.
And then you see guys go a whole career. I mean, Kevin Levrone doing behind the neck presses with 405. Like, my shoulder is in the corner if I do that.
Yeah.
Once.
Yeah. And I think that, and that's why it's kind of funny, but this is how I see it. Genetics are so important because they dictate everything. And that's why you can't worry about them. You got to focus on all the other stuff.
Yep.
Because you got to try to make up for as much as you possibly can by being as good as you possibly can at all the other stuff. Some of it matters more than others, of course. So if we have to rank, I mean, obviously diet and training are the top two. You can argue about which is more important, but diet and training are those two things. Nothing happens bodybuilding wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if your hydration is average and your sleep is average and everything else is average, training and diet would be the top two. I don't know which one you guys would put first. I would probably put training first. I don't know. I guess nothing happens without the signal. So it's almost impossible to rank them. It's which is more important, the gun or the bullet?
Yeah,
depends on which side you're on.
Yeah. Well, you can't do anything without both, right? Like, so
you said, Ron, what was that term you used? You said it's like you can't change the blueprint. What was that?
Yeah, like when you get contractors to build you a house, they can only build the house that's on the blueprint.
Yeah.
Right? That's what they build. And it probably will still have stuff wrong with it.
Yeah.
Right? So just think of, your genetics are your blueprint. That's as good as your house could ever be, is all limited by that blueprint. And, whether you can, get 10x size hypertrophy with your sarcoplasmic volume, like some guys,
Yeah,
or whether you can get 2x hypertrophy, volume to your muscle cells over the course of your lifetime. That's just all in the blueprints. You just don't know what's in your blueprints. You don't get to look at them. So you got to go find out. Sometimes you need to bring a big sledgehammer.
I feel like that's another area where if you look at the best thing you could do if you want to find out how good of a bodybuilder you are is assume you have terrible genetics, because then you will absolutely maximize everything else, and you might find out you have great genetics along that role.
Yeah.
But I used to say back in the day, because obviously I got into bodybuilding right after technically, but then I looked back and learned that you've got two guys with great genetics, Ronnie Coleman and Flex Wheeler. Obviously, some of the best genetics of all time. And then Ronnie, according to stories I've heard and things I've seen, was the machine of the two of them. So it's like if you take great genetics with good effort and all these things, you have a Flex Wheeler. If you take great genetics with phenomenal execution, you have a Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah.
And that's why, to me, you should always treat it like you're possibly even less than you are, because it drives you. Like, I used to just look at shows and be like, okay, so chances are everyone in the top 5 is born better at this than I am. So they have to slip and I cannot. To even have a shot, I have to be perfect. And whether or not that was necessarily true didn't matter. It just made, that's what kept me perfect.
Yeah. So it kept driving you to maintain your level of consistency. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah. There was something I was pondering, Ron. You had said, which is more important, the nutrition, beyond the genetics, which is more important, the nutrition or training. And I was thinking about that, and I feel like it maybe depends on the person. Because I'm going to take a guy like Dusty, where there's no doubt the way he trained, he outworked himself. And he was, part of that was his genetics, of course, that has allowed him to do what he's done. But it was really the training that allowed him to really push where he did. And that's what you've said, Dusty, versus there's a lot of other guys that do the California Pro workout, and they were able to escape. I've worked with guys, I think of like the most gifted guy I ever worked out with or ever trained was like a mediocre trainer. He did, like just volume training, bro split type stuff. Friday, he kind of just pumped up his arms and whatever else he wanted to hit. It's like my full body touch up day. What, you know what I mean? It's like,
just like this stuff. Like, what?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
No one does that.
A touch up day. It's my touch up day, coming up with his own ideas and stuff.
Like reading an 80s magazine.
Yeah, and it's all working for him. Guy looks incredible, better than anybody else in the gym.
He's talking to people while he's doing calf raises.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, that's
you'll
love this, Scott. I had a girl come in at
that
one point
fucking guy.
when I had my stores, I had a girl come in one day and she asked for me by name, and I'm like, that's me. And you could just see she was a massage therapist at one of the nice places around town. She had like, khaki pants on and just a polo shirt.
Oh,
she looked
yes.
small, and she's like, "Yeah, I was wanting to do that show coming up, and I was hoping you could coach me." And I'm like, "Oh, the show in November, because it's June. No, it was almost July." And she goes, "No, the one in July." And I was like, "All right, that's in 4.5 weeks. So would you have a suit you can put on and show me what you look like?" She said, "Sure." She goes in the bathroom, comes out in a suit, never posed before. So when she stands there, I go, "Okay, do this." And she just opens up, and I watch the lats open, and the waist is small. And I'm like, I'll have to. So I run her through her quarter turns. She's ridiculous. And I said, well, what's your training split? She goes, "What's that?" And I'm like, "What day do you train what?" And she goes, "Oh, I just kind of train whatever feels flabby that day." And I go, "All right."
Yep.
And I was like, "Well, what gym do you train at?" She goes, "Well, my apartment has a gym."
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Universal machine with a treadmill in the corner.
So she literally has no idea what she's doing. I ask her about a diet, same thing. She goes, "I do eat a lot of animal crackers because my 1-year-old son eats them." And I'm like, "Oh, so you gave birth a year ago. Cool." And then 4 weeks later, she won her first overall.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just, and it was one of those things where you're sitting there going like, you have no idea what, and every muscle was there. hamstrings, quads, and you're just looking going, there's girls killing them. I mean, at that time, those shows were 150 deep with girls in figure.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, it's the worst backstage, you know, because she's like, oh, they're like, oh, how long you trained? She's like, I started 3 weeks ago.
This is so fun.
Yeah. I want to try.
And then the best part is that she did 3 shows, won 3 overalls, and goes, this isn't that fun, and quit.
Yeah.
Like, and never worked with me. Like, she would just come out about 4 or 5 weeks out. I want to do that show again. I'm like, okay, let's win again.
Yeah.
Like,
that's how it
goes.
goes.
That's genetics, you know.
I worked with a guy. He messaged me. He goes, hey man, I had an extra large pizza. I'm like, you're 5 weeks out, dude. And he's it's okay. I went to the gym and did 3 hours of cardio.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just don't do that.
That's not how it works.
It's just don't, like, this, God, put your body through all that. Put yourself through all that. Just don't do that.
Yeah,
And you know, this is the type of guy that, you know, he's like, oh yeah, you know, I had to go out of town for work for 3 days, so I just ate at the hotel. But I just told him not to put any sauce on anything.
Yeah.
So he's just like that, not weighing a thing. Did you weigh your food? He's like, well, no. I mean,
Yeah, you
know,
you can tell what it is mostly. Yeah.
They don't give you lots of food.
Yeah.
You know, like, he's like that sort of thing, you know?
The ranch was really small that was on the side of that salad.
Just a little.
Yeah, like half the prep, we're halfway through the prep. He's like getting in pretty good shape. And I realize he's drinking mutant mass instead of isolate.
It tastes better, you know? I make my shakes with milk too.
Yeah.
1,500 calories twice a day.
Yeah.
No, he's just using number of scoops, because I said 2 scoops away post-workout. So he's 2 scoops of mutant mass. It was half a serving of mutant mass. But he's having 2 shakes a day. So he's having a full serving of mutant mass every day.
Yeah. That's wild.
Your macros are slightly off from what Ron had written.
Yeah, because I'm like, you know, he's just and so the long of the short is he gets completely strided glutes, and a crazy back double bicep, and just smokes the show, wins the overall, you know, and I'm just like, you know, he's talking to people between sets the whole time.
Yeah,
like I see him in the gym, I'm like, Jesus, you know.
Ron hates him.
And it was just like easy. He was the type of guy that trained in like a golf shirt and like khaki shorts.
Nice.
And but had a better physique than anybody in any of the bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Like he didn't own a single bodybuilding brand piece of clothing at all.
Whoa,
and
he wasn't in the wolf pack?
No, he wasn't in the wolf pack. He didn't. He had, this is a guy who has like 21 inch arms. Like he was a heavyweight.
You're kidding me.
He has like 20-inch arms, training in golf shirts with collars on them.
Can't
like
huge.
He just wasn't a bodybuilder, like in any sense of his self, like identification. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't involved in the bodybuilding scene. He was in the oil industry.
Yeah.
He like didn't have
Just
any
incredible
bodybuilding.
genetics.
Didn't care. Just like kind of used to read magazines when he was younger.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and was like kind of like, oh, give this a try.
You know what?
Just
though?
like,
I'll tell
crazy.
you what, man. I feel like I'm happy in a way that's not me, because I probably would have just like gotten bored of bodybuilding, and it wouldn't have meant as much as it does to me now, because I did have to work hard to get anything out of it, right? And I learned so many valuable lessons, and it's not about the actual, I mean, of course you want the best results you can get, and of course I'd love to have had that, you know, result, but it's like, to me, I love the experience, you know, and there's the guys out there, and I know you guys are the same way. So much of who I am today has been because of that experience. And I don't know, I've known guys that they just don't appreciate it because they didn't have to put the same amount of work in, you know.
I also sort of admired how little he was involved.
Yeah.
With like, he just was not involved in bodybuilding at all. He knew nothing about like any of the local stuff. Didn't know who any of the people were. Like he just like stepped in, smoked a show with like the best arms in the show.
Yeah.
You know, just smoked it. That was fun.
That was all right. I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah.
That diet was tough.
Yeah, man. Ooh, all that cardio I had to do because I kept eating all those pizzas.
Yeah.
So Scott, did you want to? I wanted to hear a little about SWIS action.
Oh yeah. So it was awesome. First of all, let me tell you, and I'm gonna see if I can get Victoria to come on down. I'll drop her a quick text.
Does she answer your messages?
It depends how busy she is.
She answers.
Emily leaves me on red. Leaves me on red all day.
So it was awesome. We had fun. Vigorous Steve came out a couple days early. He got to hang out here with me in Detroit. I took him down to Detroit Powerhouse, and then we drove down together with Victoria down to SWIS. And there was a bunch of good people there, a bunch of cool people. A lot of really great educators that we got to hear talk. I learned a lot from Dr. Eric Serrano last year, and then this year I learned some more stuff building off of what I learned last year. Victoria killed it. Like, she absolutely killed it. She got a Lifetime Achievement Award, and I know that was something that like totally made her year too, because like SWIS means so much to her. It's different than like the Olympia, because at the like at big events where you have all the bodybuilders come together, there are cool people. You can come up to the Mutant booth and just hang out and talk to everybody, and everybody's just themselves. But there's a lot of like pretension throughout the expo, and people who are like stiff. You know what I mean? And not making eye contact, and, not saying hi, versus this is like, you take these awesome educators and they're just literally there just hanging out and talking to everybody. It's just like equals. People are going out to dinner together. I got to eat dinner, lunch with Ed Cohen. You know what I mean? It's
like a bunch of your pictures. Awesome. Yeah.
Just hanging out with these guys, and it's
especially after having them on the show, you would have been like you knew him.
Yeah. Well, I met him at SWIS the year before. That was where I first met.
I guess
Victoria knew him, and when I met him, I was like, "Hey, nice to meet you," and everything. And he already knew who I was because he saw Victoria. He was like, "You know what? Your wife is just a genius." He's like, "I loved her presentation." So it was cool. She had like standing room only at her talk. She went over by 30 minutes, and nobody left. Like, she was the last presenter of the day, and she was like, "Listen, it's an hour-long talk." She's like, "Listen, I'm going to go over. You can leave if you want. You can stay if you want. I don't care. I'm going to do this." Literally, now nobody walked out.
What's with SWIS? Like, how does that? I mean, I don't see it marketed or anything. How do people know when to go?
I know,
how they can show up. Like, I know through you every year. I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
Like, it seems like it'd be hard, because I feel like a lot of people, especially knowing the speakers, would travel just to go. To hear it.
So, and that's why I tried to mention it to everybody, to come on out, and the attendance wasn't huge this year. So it's one of those things, I guess, that they talked about it. Dave Tate said he wants to do a better job at marketing in the future, because he teamed up with, it's Dr. Ken Kanakian out of Mississauga, up there not by you, Ron, but up there in Canada with you. And not by you.
Not you at all, actually.
It's an American
flight.
That's American. That's a very American way, right?
I live in Texas also.
Yeah, exactly. Went up on your side of the border, and he teamed up with Dave Tate, and they did put out marketing, but it didn't reach a lot of people in our world. There's a lot of a lot of the people who are more on the
nerd.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. They're on that, they're on that side of things. So you get your Dr. Jordan Shallows, people like that. But I agree with you, man. Skip came with me. Skip and I hung out. We did a podcast too.
I saw it 1 in.
Yeah, it was literally like 1 a.m. So we got a bunch of people like Rick Collins came on with us, and Chris Duffin popped in for a second. And yeah, I learned so much from it. But yeah, it was a great time. So anyway, she'll come down at some point, I guess. But apparently she's not coming down this second. She said just a second, so she's probably like
a jump for you.
I know, right?
Maybe she's bringing a sandwich
now that she's got the award. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It all changed. I remember when Ron started prepping Olympia athletes. Everything changed.
Hey, we needed an. Oh, she is. And then I got to ask Dusty an update too. Hey, come on over, Tor. We wanted you to tell us a little bit about your weekend. Come on in. You can take my headphones. This piece is about to fall off. Hold that. Right there. There you go. We're just going to make it quick.
Yep.
Hello.
Hey.
What's going on? Welcome to the show, Victoria.
Oh, thank you.
Hey.
I like that I blindsided you this morning with hey, we need you on the show today.
I was literally just about to fall asleep.
So we wanted to hear about the, number one, about the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Oh, I know. It's
how
wild.
That was.
Wild. So, yeah, I'm still speechless.
So when did you know anything about it ahead of time? Like, did they tell you? Like, what? How does this work?
Yeah, so
We don't have one of those.
on what day did we arrive? Thursday?
We will never win
Thursday,
anything.
we
Yeah.
got in,
So on
and-
Thursday we got in and we ran into Ken and he pulled an envelope out of his pocket. And it had the essentially invitation to the ceremony in it. And so it said like, congratulations. And I just start crying. So it was.
Oh, so you kind of found out like when you arrived.
Yeah.
So when you say ceremony, was it like a different time? Like where? Like how did this fit into the weekend schedule?
Every year at SWIS, there's like a closing ceremony thing.
Okay.
Like, you know, like everybody comes to the one main hall room and then
And this is like Sunday night or what? Sunday afternoon?
Saturday
or
night.
what?
Yeah, Saturday night usually starts at like just after 6. So like all the presentations
Okay.
have been over, usually for like an hour or so, and then like everybody comes and congregates in the main hall. And then 2016, which was my first year, that was just kind of like a coming together. And then 2018 they started doing these lifetime achievement awards, and I of course was like seeing all these big names like Dr. Stu McGill, which is like the back doctor. He got one first year, and our Dr. David Leaf, who he's huge in the massage therapy world. So like these like epic human beings. So the fact that I got one this year is really still shocking because I'm
Wow.
not quite at the point where I ever imagined I would be up there.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank
know?
you.
Apparently, everyone disagrees with your timing on
Yeah.
deserving this award since you got
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I only got an envelope like that once, and I was being served.
That's kind of what it felt like. Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like. So,
But also another thing is that quite often the people that win these types of awards are the people that are just focusing on their work.
True.
yeah, and that's one of the things that Ken really did a great job at articulating was that it's not about being at the end of your career, or it's not about having this lifetime, like this body of work that's been spanning 40, 50 years. It's about what your work is doing. Like, is it transcending, your field, and is it making a difference? Like, that's the
Wow.
big thing. So, yeah.
That's cool. Well,
So very,
that's amazing.
very special.
so what happens now when you do like 10 more crazy, contributions to the community that leach out into mainstream? Can they give you a second lifetime achievement award at any point?
It makes sense. I think they could.
Yeah.
I think they could do
They
it.
give multiple life sentences to people.
I think the,
Yeah, there you go.
the highest honor, though, the highest honor at SWIS, they introduced last year, and it's the John Meadows Award. So,
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
There we go.
So, like, Ed Cohen was one of the recipients this year, and Ed was so visibly and emotionally moved that he couldn't talk.
Yeah, he started crying.
Yeah, he broke down.
He said to
That's
think
amazing.
that he would even be mentioned in the same sentence with John like that. I mean, it just speaks to Ed's humility, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then some. That's cray-cray.
Yeah. So it was big and it was special, and it's gonna definitely be a weekend that I will remember forever. It's
Yeah.
only my my first SWIS was 7 years ago. So, and Ken took a chance on me, like a big, like literally did not know who I was. Called up Eric and John and Dave and was like, "Should she be in this?" And it was because I was writing for a magazine at the time, and
Who were you writing for back then?
oh my God, Muscle Insider.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
And I was writing the drug columns.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the
yeah,
performance
yeah.
enhancement columns. And
As
so
women
they
do.
Exactly. So, but it was the first year of the steroid panel, and so they wanted like the token female.
I love
and
it.
so that was really like why I was there. But it was also the first time that they ever really talked about actually it was the first time women's health at this event.
Right.
So it'd been
right.
going at that point in time for like 16 years, and nobody had ever talked about like women's health.
So you helped break the barrier there.
Yeah, and then also I think like since then, and you guys can comment on this, but like because I think I'm a bit oblivious, but we've definitely got a different conversation about women in our industry now, and women about and drugs and periods and all of this other stuff. So, and I'm not going to say that like I'm the person behind it, but I definitely know that I've taken a hard stance. And even though it's not remotely full time, I wouldn't even call it like 1/6 of a time of my work. But it's just trying to get the conversation going, get people to think differently, or just think actually, because most people don't.
More accurate, right there.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah. So.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
We're real happy for you.
Thank you.
You know, it's we look forward to seeing what's next. Scott keeps us in the loop.
Yeah, and the next SWIS, you guys better be there.
I'd love to go.
That'd be sweet.
I would love to go to SWIS.
It is.
You know,
it is magical. Like
it'd
it
be
is
nice
really
to
magical.
learn something.
It's not even, you know, Ron. It's not even learning. It's like imagine, like you guys do expos all the time, and it's like people coming and going and coming and going, and then you see those people that you really respect walk by, and you're like, oh, hey, hold on, I want to say hi to you, but you actually are in the same hotel as those people for 3 days straight.
Right.
So the conversations, like, you know, even just the companies that have been born out of it, the ideas, the plans, like John Bernardi's Precision Nutrition, that came from SWIS.
Right.
Like huge companies, huge ideas, inventions. So it's just this like think tank for 3 days. And then, people go up and do presentations and whatever else. But I think for me, it's that opportunity to actually get what people want to know about. And then I go back and I research, and, you know, 2 years or 1 year later, I come back.
That's amazing. Ron, we're in. We just got invited by a Lifetime Achievement Award winner.
Yeah, I can just walk up to the gate and go, oh, Victoria said I'm allowed in.
I'm on the list.
I'm on the list.
Where's my chair?
Somehow Scott got in, so you guys are fine.
Hey, if I can do it.
I love it.
Well, thank you guys, though. I appreciate it. It's
absolutely.
It's been a journey, and we're not done yet. So
actually,
I think probably just getting started.
Yeah, well, you know, you're the youngest person on the show right now, so I would hope you still have lots
by
left
a long shot,
by a mile.
Well, okay. I'm getting the cane, so I will give it back to Scott.
Okay,
but thank you guys.
The hand of doom. Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time, babe.
Thanks, Victoria.
All right, so back to the show. I had something
fantastic.
I got something for you guys. This is something else that was important, so I'm just going to switch gears a little bit here. We had a question. Everybody's been asking about an
terrible
update
transition
from Dusty.
From SWIS to this.
We go from like high education to
this mess.
Everybody wants to know what Dusty's update is.
So the update will be quick. I started training harder, and I've been eating 5 whole meals a day now, so it's exciting. I got all the way down to 278 pounds, and now the scale is trying to go back up, even though I'm still eating well, and I'm getting stronger. And I'm like, well, after the Olympia, I'm going to add a 6th meal and see what happens. So this is like my new version of growing. I'm just like eating more again. And it wasn't originally I was like, I think I can get to 270 eating 2 cheat meals a week all in one day. And just eating pretty light, you know. I mean, they're not big meals, 5 times a day, and it was working really good until the training started getting really hard, and then I started growing. And I'm like, oh, well, I like this look, so I'm gonna run through the Olympia just because I wanted to like stick to my plan of getting to the Olympia, down in weight, and then after the Olympia, I'm gonna add a 6th meal and just see what happens. But it won't be for long because I'm gonna do Nikki's prep with her. Just as a reason to get in shape.
Yeah.
So that way, at that point, you know, it'll come, but I'll still be at 6 meals a day, but I'll actually get much leaner. So it's been good. The other day, you will understand this. Anybody who's retired, I looked in the mirror and I was like, that's not terrible. And I haven't said that for a long time.
Right.
I didn't say it was good, but I said it wasn't terrible. I was like, wow. All the abs are there. Okay, that's good to see. So yeah, on that note, get me a s'mores cookie. Let's roll.
Okay. When do we get a shirtless Dusty photo?
Probably at the Olympia when I'm dared and drunken.
Okay. Those are requirements for Dirtless Dusty at this point.
Yeah,
Or
at
Shirtless
this point in
Dusty.
my life, the shirt doesn't really come off very often. Like, ugh. The sleeves don't even come off very often. That's the only time is at working with Mutant is the only time I'm in like a sleeveless. I'm like, oh, it's just I should wear a tank top, a vest per se.
Oh man. Nice. Okay. We got some listener questions, don't we, Scott? Isn't that
We
what
do.
we're doing next?
We do. Yeah, that was one of them actually. And then this is another one here. Lucas had said, just a kind of a fun one because I don't even know the answer to this. What are your favorite snack foods for movies and other entertainment? And of course, this includes beverages. This is stuff I don't know.
Question.
Okay, so going to a movie. So if I'm going
Let's go
to a movie,
yes.
Going to a movie, it's the biggest Diet Coke they have.
Okay, yeah.
Coke Zero, whatever. I don't care.
Zero, yeah.
Coke Zero, Diet Pepsi, I don't care. And a bag of chocolate M&Ms.
Just the plain chocolate ones.
Plain chocolate M&Ms. Yeah, I just want a bag of M&Ms. Simple man, Diet Coke, bag of M&Ms. And I'm good for the whole movie. You have you take a piss right before you go in, and then you try not to front load the Diet Coke, right? You got to
that's tough.
You don't want to like drink half of it in the first 10 minutes, right? Or you're going to, and if you do it right, you can get through the whole movie without having to take a piss.
And if you do it wrong, your cup's empty anyway, so just fill her.
Yeah.
It's a dark room. It's a dark room. Nobody will know.
Hey,
Just don't get a refill.
I couldn't leave.
Yeah, it's an important part.
Yeah.
It was just the one time.
Not that anyone's surprised by this, but my snacking is a little more advanced than Ron's. So, first off, of course, the diet, because I'm keeping it tight. Then the largest popcorn they have with 2 king-size bags of peanut butter M&Ms that you're going to distribute evenly throughout the popcorn. You put some on, you shake it down, because you got to get chocolate and popcorn at the same time. Game-changing situation. Ron's face tells me no, it doesn't get it. They're candy-coated, man. They melt in your mouth, not in your hand. You don't watch
But with the popcorn, isn't there butter all over everything?
I don't put butter on the popcorn because I used to work at a movie theater. That's not butter, ladies and gentlemen. That's just oil.
Isn't that just melted oil? Yeah, it's just canola oil, isn't it?
I mean, literally, if you ever watched as soon as I worked at the theater at 16 years old and I poured that into a thing, I was like, yeah, I'm never eating that again.
Okay, so butterless, salted popcorn. Being clear. I don't know if I missed that the first time around, but I'm just getting it right.
And if you ever want to have a more advanced situation, you're trying to impress a girl, get a side of the nacho cheese to dip the popcorn in.
So here's a question. Don't all the M&Ms, peanut M&Ms, don't they all kind of plinko down to the bottom of the bag?
No, you're not. What are you got Tourette's? You shaking the whole movie? No, you put them in. They're going to sit there because it's tight. And it's not a bag. It's not a bag. It's a big thing. You actually have to shake them to get them down to keep adding.
Okay.
Very key. Yeah. So everybody who takes this advice, his life just changed.
So that's why I'm asking the questions, right?
One more thing. Definitely use your bag, your crossbody bag, whatever you got, to bring the M&Ms in because they charge way too much, and those things are
so you're also smuggling. Yes, I occasionally will smuggle, but I have to remember because I don't buy M&Ms outside of the movie theater normally, right? So I have to think if I'm getting gas or something. Oh, I'm going to a movie tomorrow night. I better get a bag of M&Ms because I would never make an extra stop. That's just I don't do extra stops. Yeah.
Listen. My crossbody bag is right over there, and I have peanut M&Ms in it right now.
Just in case.
In case there's a spontaneous movie.
You never know, and you want to be ready, and you never know, and you're going to want to go to a movie.
I'll just eat them, though. That'd be my problem. I couldn't just keep those in the house.
Them preloaded.
No.
Yeah, it's just like the preloads you started on in the drug world. Once they're there, you're taking them.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't leave a Sustanon sitting on the table for 2 weeks. There's no way I'm going to let a Sustanon just sit on the table for 2 weeks.
Right.
All right. See, so there we go. Now everybody knows.
Okay.
Scott, you don't have snacks? What's your deal?
Ooh, man. You know what? We don't go out to the movies much, but I enjoy when we watch a movie or TV at night. I drink one of those sparkling mountain ice water drinks. I don't know if you've seen those at the grocery store. Those are good.
Yeah. Like flavored?
Yeah. It's like a flavored sparkling water type thing. It's like basically like a soda, but it's light, like much lighter. If I was really going crazy, I might get some sharp cheddar and some crackers and just sit there and chop that up. Oh, and every night we have a tradition. Board. Yes. Every night we have a tradition. We split an apple every night. Victoria and I do. And the dogs always get in on that action too.
Okay.
So you have 4 members of the family eating one apple?
Yeah, it's just we usually get a big apple, and then the dogs get like a couple bites.
They're real tight on the diet, Dusty.
I was gonna say, damn.
Victoria doesn't want to eat a whole apple.
Shredded.
Yeah. Not yet. But I'm getting better. I'm starting to look better again, Dusty. That's my.
So you're gonna. Well, you won't be long ago. This doesn't look too bad, like I said the other day.
I'm getting there. Actually, I just said that today. After my workout, nice. I looked at Victoria and I was like, "Hey, you know what?" I had my shirt off. I was like, "Hey, I'm starting to look not terrible again." You know,
and she was like,
"Yeah."
She didn't really agree. She just went, "Eh."
No, she was happy. She was very happy, actually.
There's 2 sizes of coffee cups in my house. There's big giant cups, that are like,
this is mine from today, real big one.
And then there's then we have like normal, like a normal coffee cup, like regular
ones that don't get used.
That don't get used except for ice cream.
Oh.
I like a couple spoons of ice cream in there. You don't have to fill it. Like you could pack it if you want, but I'm just dropping a couple of small scoops in there, and then I'm using like a small spoon, and I'll go sit and we'll watch an episode of something, and I'll just savor it. I'm so mature now with my ice cream consumption.
Yeah.
I remember for decades, the idea was if you open a Ben & Jerry's, you have to throw the lid away because you have to commit.
It ain't going back, yeah.
Right? But now, like that lid, I keep that lid, and that Ben & Jerry's lasts like a whole week sometimes. Just have a little bit every night, little spoon. Yeah, it's delicious.
I've absolutely never taken ice cream out of a Ben & Jerry's and put it in something else as if I wasn't going to eat the entire thing.
As I started doing that, and it turns out it can be done.
Well, look at your physique. You got an ab and thigh. I got a flab and thigh. It's a totally different thing.
It's like I remember when I also learned that you don't always, like, there were 2 decades there at least where anytime I've got fast food, like ever, it was like 2 double burgers and a large fries. Yeah. Or a spicy chicken and a double cheeseburger and a large fries.
That's a good combo right there. Yeah.
Like every time. That was just, we're eating? Well, that's the default meal.
Yeah.
And then I remember this one, I don't know what happened, but I was like, oh, I can order 1 burger and a small fries. Or I can order like 2 chicken burgers and no fries. I remember that epiphany happening. Yeah. I was actually in control of what I consumed when I ate at fast food places. And it was like a life-changing thing. I was like, oh, I don't have to feel like I can actually have like Wendy's today. I had Wendy's today used to mean that I was disabled for 2 hours. Right? Yeah. But I could actually have Wendy's today. When you put in like order, an hour and a half later. Sorry?
When you put in that order, like, and you're in the drive-thru, do they say, does your wife need anything else?
Yeah, there used to be comments. I used to feel very I'd be like, get to the window, and they'd be like disappointed. Oh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Expected more from you.
Yeah. I remember when they assumed
expected that it less of you.
They used to assume that it was for multiple people. Whatever I ordered, like, oh yeah, you and your girlfriend have a nice day, enjoy your meals. Yeah, right, exactly.
Guys at work are hungry.
It's just me.
That's terrible. Oh,
honey nuggets again. It's me.
That's so good. It's so true. Everyone that's watching this show right now is nodding. They're like, been there.
Yep.
Been there.
Been there. Yeah. I think it was actually a little bit of a slow drop off too. There was I got to a point where I stopped ordering the ice cream with the entire giant, ridiculous 4,000 calorie meal. And then like, maybe the cookies dropped off. And then I started like, I don't have to have large fries. So it was a bit of an evolution.
Yeah. I know I was there. For me, it was the apple pies. I can get this meal without the apple pies. I don't need to eat the apple pies. That's
I'm dieting.
Yeah.
I saw a meme the other day.
Apple pies are just sugar. It's all sugar. You don't want those.
He's getting shredded because he pulled the apple pies.
Drop like 150 grams of carbs out of my diet. Getting ripped. Yeah.
I saw a meme the other day that said the serving size in a bag of chips is 10 chips. It said, meanwhile, I stand in the pantry eating 10 chips, deciding if I even want to eat chips.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly how it goes. Okay. We got another one? We got another listener question?
We sure do. This one's probably not going to take us into education any further. So we'll have to do a smarter question in the future here. But for next, we've got this one.
This stupid question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, more of that.
Okay.
Would you rather, one, run everywhere you go in a 1 mile radius, anything over a mile, you can drive, fly, etc. But if going to the kitchen, you're running. So basically anywhere under a mile, you have to run. If you're out to eat with friends, it's time to leave. You're freaking sprinting to that car. Or two, would you rather shout, yell whenever you speak? You're yelling when you answer the phone, talking to fans at booths, and while hosting podcasts. One exception, you don't have to yell at your dogs. They don't deserve that.
Oh, man.
It's a great question.
Those both sound really bad.
You'd be in real good shape with one of them, though,
Yeah, and I wonder if because, I was thinking the other day about, how Ian is like running now. He's like sprinting. Yeah, I have no interest in sprinting at all. But I thought, it might be good if I like I don't know if I even know how to run right now.
Like if somebody was chasing you or something, you don't know if you can
like
get away.
If someone like came at me with a gun, like I don't even know if I can run away. I might be like, I don't know. Can my body do that? I haven't so I thought it might be a good idea to just maybe just do a little bit of jogging just to see if I can get the athletic movement of running back. I'm on the bike and everything. I should be able to run. But I don't think
you should start carrying, and then you don't have to worry if the guy comes with a gun.
Yes.
Just start carrying.
Don't have to run either.
That's the answer.
We don't have an option here in Canada.
We don't run.
I want to make sure I don't hurt him in case he sues me. The running thing, I don't know. What do you think?
I think at this stage of my life, I would rather yell at everyone.
Because you can just avoid people.
People won't want to be around me anymore. Plus,
gotta
Ron
draw the
knows
positives
from
out of it.
traveling with me. Anything I think comes out of my mouth, and now it's going to be audible. I see something look at this guy, and it's going to be loud, and he's going to see it. I'm going to wave. And I think that would be great because it's like Liar Liar, where every thought comes out, and they're going to come out loud now. So yeah, I think it would really help my isolation process I've been working on.
Help drive you further into it. I see the positives of that. And then you could just have dogs at home and you don't have to yell at them.
Yeah, and Scott can turn my voice down on the podcast.
We'll just lower
They'll
your
see
mic,
that I'm yelling.
Right. Yeah, there's no rule about that. There's no rule about that. You're right.
In post-production, it's fine.
See, Dusty is here to bring the balance and help us come to good conclusions, Scott.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. What are you guys doing?
I'm turning to you guys for an answer. Yeah, both of you guys are yelling, so I'll just keep both of you turned down a little bit. It'd be fine.
Let's do that.
It'd be fine.
The fact that if we all yell, Scott's job is easier because he turns the whole episode down.
Yeah, it's just perfectly balanced. I don't have to do anything except for the master volume, right?
Yeah, one time. There you go. It's perfect.
All right, let's see if there's anything that requires it a little bit more. Oh, this is kind of a good one, too.
Required a lot.
It kind of did, didn't it?
I thought a lot right there.
We had another one for Dusty. Were you a better hockey player or bodybuilder? I know the obvious answer is you were a pro bodybuilder and an amateur hockey player, but the barrier to entry in hockey is much higher. Also, if I remember correctly, you had an injury that halted your hockey career.
I was definitely better at hockey than I am at bodybuilding.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, much better. That was because. So the quick story is when I got into hockey, it was random and later in life than most kids, and like so my dad put me in a learn to play league, and they had me there for one day, and then they moved me into a B league, and I was there for a weekend, and then they moved me into a travel team. So it was just bam, within 2 weeks I was on the highest team. And
how old were you at that time? Were you 10
I was 11 when I started. Yeah, which is really, really late in hockey. Like 11, you're an old man starting hockey. Like
up in Canada, like you're
If you have feet, you're ready to wear skates. Like, So it was very drastic. Like very quickly, people were like, "Oh, who is this?" And I had the same effect in bodybuilding. Where they were like, "Why is he here? He should do something else with his time." Yeah, definitely better at hockey. And I've had people ask before which I would rather do. I would rather play hockey. I love that so much. And you can't, I even think at the highest level, like when you match, and forget about money, just the highest level of the two things, like hockey's a great sport because anyone in the sport knows you, and you're playing in front of 20,000 people on the regular and millions of viewers. And then if you're outside of like a hockey area, no one knows who you are.
No one knows
just walking
you.
around.
Yeah.
You're totally normal dude, and no one has any clue who you are, which is fantastic. And you're not growing up. Like I don't think people realize when you're watching these elite athletes, these are 18 to 22-year-old kids, like having fun. I'm like they're millionaires having fun doing what they've been doing their whole lives. And it's like, it doesn't get better to me.
I remember I saw Eric Lindros interviewed. And he was like that amazing guy. His career was cut short because of like really bad concussions. But he was like awesome. And he played for the Rangers. And he said that he would ride the subway to practice there and back every day. And no one ever said a word to him.
Yep. And he was also a monster of a man.
Monster of a man. He's like 6'6", 250.
Yeah, you think you would know him.
Yeah, and like he got a hockey mullet. Like you put that guy in any other city, like put him in Detroit, and even if someone doesn't know him, they're like, that guy looks like a pro hockey player.
Yeah.
And it's just funny. No one ever said a word to him. Like in New York, you're just lost in the subway. No one's noticing you.
It's hard to get noticed on New York subway, in fairness. I mean, Kai Green.
Yeah, you pretty much have to strip naked. You have to strip naked and smoke crack.
Yeah.
And if you do that, people just kind of move away from you.
Yeah. They're like, this guy, that's a different guy yesterday.
Give him room.
Yeah. All right, got a couple more here. One of them was this. Did the 80s dudes have fewer injuries? Seems like surgery talk is like 10% of every IFBB Pro podcast these days. Average number of surgeries by decade, maybe. Are surgeries the largest expense in today's bodybuilding budget?
Oh,
that's
wow.
funny.
You got a plan for it.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Do they have more? Are we like recognizing stuff more now? Like, this thing's going on.
Thing.
We pushed through it in the past, and now we're like, no, my hip's actually doing this thing, or my elbow. You know what I mean? And I can get that taken care of.
Yeah, and also too, like, how much did the other guys go through that they didn't talk about because they didn't have all this,
right?
Social media and all that. Like, I mean, Jesus, Dorian tore his tricep, and nobody knew at all until after the Olympia.
Yep.
So, like, that's how quiet guys were about stuff and how easy it was to keep a secret. Now if you tore your tricep, like Dorian trained, they literally trained with the gym closed. Yeah. So him and Leroy knew he tore his tricep. Yep. But if Brandon Curry tore his tricep, you're telling me someone wouldn't know? He's training in oxygen with all those people around, all those other competitors around, right? Someone would say, "Oh, he looked like he got hurt today," and it would be all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they were able to keep stuff quiet. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's more. I really don't. I just think, like you said, Ron, it's everyone knows now. I mean, they know what you ate for lunch today, so because you probably posted it. And that's the beauty of the business and of all sports is that you do have that access.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think it's fantastic that has been crossed, because it does allow people to see that side as well. Because before, you watch a guy like Dorian, you're like, man, he trains like that. He's never tired, never has a bad day, never injured. And now you and your buddies, someone's always broken, you know?
Well, in like 10, 15 years ago, how many people do you know that got hurt and then they tried to cover it up and keep it a secret? You know, back then people would get hurt and they'd be like ashamed or embarrassed, and they wouldn't want you to know because they'd hope that it's going to heal and you're not going to notice the difference. Versus nowadays, you tear something and then you got a whole video series ahead of you about like your road to recovery and everything else.
You want to make
know what I
money
mean?
off that shit.
Yeah.
Get the camera, make me some money.
Listen, guys,
Yeah.
I got to come clean. I know there's been some talk, you know, and yeah, I had, you know, tore tricep last week.
No one's talking about you.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite thing. A lot of people have been asking. Like,
A lot of people have been asking
these things.
No, nobody's asking.
I asked Nikki to ask me once, so I said people were asking. Read this, and it was like, "How is your day today?" A lot of people have been asking about my day today. Everyone knows that's true. I don't know why we have to start that. Just tell people what you want to tell them.
I said to come on here and tell you guys what's actually going on.
Yeah.
What do you mean
exactly.
actually going on? I have no idea something's going on.
I don't know the
again.
story
What are you
either.
talking about?
Oh man!
You're literally breaking this news to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yesterday he posted that there was breaking news happening today. That's the part.
Right.
Yeah. Stay tuned tomorrow, you know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
So,
you know,
I immediately set it in my phone. Tomorrow, Jake is going to say something at noon.
yeah.
Alarm at 11:50.
All right.
So people have been asking if we have another question.
Yeah.
They
got
really
one more
are
here.
asking that right now. Or am I going to turn the show off?
Okay. Another one. Let's see. Watched Samson on YouTube as he received magazines for muscular development with him on the cover. I'm wondering, they are still a hard copy? I used to read them all the time when getting started. Do you guys still read them from time to time, or are the days of magazines gone?
They still exist. Yes.
Yeah, they still exist. I actually just picked up an MD the other day and flipped through it. I was at Mutant head office.
Oh yeah.
And they still and they still have an MD subscription that gets delivered there every month, because you want to see what's in the magazines for like ads and what you know, you want to see like what's going on, right? And what's going on in print, you know, just how is this working, and stay up to date on it. So I grabbed a copy and flipped through it. And I mean, obviously it's like way thinner. Yeah, Andrea's
that?
on there. Yeah,
Yes.
she's on the cover.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. And so yeah, it was just cool to pick up a magazine. I mean, they are still printing them. Some people still buying them, and it's like it's fun. It's fun to flip through a magazine.
It is.
Like, and I
Well,
enjoyed
miss
looking
magazines.
and I enjoyed like looking at the ads and how they're laid out, because looking now like back on how I worked in marketing for Mutant and stuff, it's like fun for me to go, oh wow, this is kind of neat idea, and this is cool, this looks good, you know. And I looked through everything, and you know, and then it was great to see, you know, pictures of, I think there was like Olympia pictures in it or something like that. It was just like fun to, it took me back to when you'd open the magazine, you'd see third place, second place, you know. It was like, it was cool.
So that's what the kids don't get now. That was kind of fun. Was you would look forward to seeing the Olympia pictures 3 months after the Olympia.
Yeah. I can't wait for that
You're
Olympia edition.
ecstatic, like, because they would do like a quick one. Remember, like maybe the month after, because they'd hold a spot for like a page or two.
Yeah, the day
And then
before
some stuff
print.
would come in. Yeah. But then the next month was like the full coverage, the Olympia issue. And
Stay tuned next month for our extensive coverage.
Yeah.
And you were like, now it's like I
January.
laugh 'cause one of my neighbors gets a paper. I'm like, bro, by the time you walk out to pick that off your paper, off your sidewalk, that's old. I wake up in the morning. It's like, you know, I mean, it's like the other day we were watching a football game, and in between, like at the halftime, they had a local news channel, and there was a weather lady, and one of the girls looks at me, she goes, "Why would you do that? It's on your phone all day.
Yeah.
You're gonna wait for this lady to tell you the weather this week? Click one button." I'm like,
Right.
she goes, "How does she have a job?" I'm like, "It's a good question. Good question."
Yeah. There's a few. There's a few
There
of
was
those
a time
jobs.
we had to wait and hope that we were getting snowed out of school tomorrow.
Yeah.
Come on, see elementary school.
Oh man, if it's minus 40 at the airport, there's no buses. It's minus 40 at the airport. There's no buses.
38. Shit.
Yes, that was like you. Yeah, like as a kid on the farm, I'd look out my window and our thermometer would say minus 40.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's minus 40 at our house. I still have to get on the bus. Yeah.
Which that's cold as hell, by the way. That's pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty cold. Yeah.
And minus 40 for all the Americans listening. Minus 40 is minus 40. It's where they match up. Fahrenheit and Celsius. Minus 40 is minus 40. So
Did you ever do that thing?
You
where
breathe
take, like,
and you literally will feel it like freezing
crystals.
with every breath.
Crystals. Yeah.
Had it ever been cold enough, Ron, where you did that thing where you like throw hot water in the air and it turns into snow or something? You hear people talking about doing that?
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Like if you throw water up in the air, it just like it crystallizes and breaks apart into tiny drop. It's just really interesting.
You've seen that
I
happen?
mean, obviously some of it doesn't. Some of it still lands on the ground, but like a bunch of kind of misty ice comes off. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of, it depends on, you can do cold water, but all this stuff, steam, it like steams like crazy. Like it's just kind of cool.
Yeah.
And if you're hot and sweaty, like let's say you're having like a workout and you're all sweaty and you walk out in minus 40, it's just crazy what comes off of you. Like, so
Good times.
Yes.
Yeah, good times.
Life on the farm.
Yeah.
Life on the farm. Okay. Is that it?
We had some more, but we don't have time for it. So I'll say this. If you guys didn't get a chance to get your question on, then please comment again. I still had a couple from Patreon, so we will tackle them on the next episode. I'm just getting my stuff back together after traveling for the last 4 days or whatever. So, we pulled it together, though, and we appreciate you guys commenting and all that stuff. All those comments, we go through all of them. All three of us read them all. I try to respond to all you guys, and thank you for all the positivity you guys have in there in the comments. And if you're not subscribed, which a bunch of you I see aren't getting notifications, and some of you said actually that the notification, like even though you ring the bell, you're not getting notifications. I think you have to allow the app to give you notifications too, or something like that. So, check that. Yeah,
okay.
Check that out
So remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, and
Ring the bell.
and give notifications.
and check your app for notifications.
Yeah.
I don't know how to make that one look
That's a
cool.
lot to say.
Yeah. That'll just add it on at the end there.
Yeah.
And remember, IamMutant.com. Hit IamMutant.com, get your ISO surge, get your all in, and everyone should get on the gear. Dusty 20, Big Ron 20. There's the gear. Check it out.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. And remember, it's just bodybuilding.